With prayer and and the Pledge of Allegiance by yours truly, Eddie Johnson. Let's bow our heads, please. Gracious God, as we are blessing, as we come together in this meeting tonight. Father, we bring before you the Newton County school system and the men and women who are in position of authority within the school system. Please give us your guidance and direction by opening our hearts and minds to your wisdom and understanding as we seek to do your will for the Newton County school system. We ask this in your name. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do we have any special recognitions this afternoon?
None tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Do we have any? We have public participation.
Yes.
Ms. Baker, please.
Public participation is the time that the board has set aside to encourage you as members of our community to voice your opinion on any matter either included on or excluded from the printed agenda. A maximum time of 5 minutes will be allotted to a single individual or a single topic based on the number of requests. Complaints against any employee of the school system will not be heard unless the complaint has been submitted in writing to the superintendent at least 7 days prior to the board meeting. If unresolved, any personal complaints about school personnel must be put in writing for the board to review in executive session. Personal attacks against any member of the board will not be tolerated. Once the time for public participation has passed, discussion of topics will be restricted to board members only. Thank you in advance for complying with this request. Mr. Chairman, tonight we have one public participant. It is Ms. Lynn House.
Good evening. Good evening. As you know, my name is Lynn House. I'm a resident of Newton County. I was born and raised here, a 1985 graduate of Newton County Comprehensive High School. My children attend Newton County schools. My mother drove a bus, retiring just last year for over 20 years. I am currently employed as an instructional coach here in the system. I'm here tonight to speak not only for myself, but on behalf of many other educators, employees, parents, and residents, some of which are here tonight, others of which that could not be here, but they have offered their signature on a letter of request for your consideration, the letter which I'm going to read now and I'll hand over with the signatures. As educators and parents of Newton County students and otherwise concerned citizens of the district, we feel strongly about what is in the best interest of our students and children. It is our belief that the appointment of Ms. Samantha Fury as superintendent would best serve our students, us, and our community. We are convinced that our system, after much work, is finally headed in the right direction. Opportunities for our students and children are expanding in many ways, including preparing them to flourish in the community and compete in a global society. We would like to see the programs and initiatives currently in place continue. Ms. Fury is not only familiar with these programs, she has played an integral part in their implementation. The investment and support for our district demonstrated by Ms. Fury is unparalleled. We are requesting your support in the provision of continued growth for our students by way of placing Mrs. Samantha Fury at the helm of this proverbial ship. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Pass it to the
Oh, wow.
superintendent.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, the next item is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion, please, and a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda approved. Now we need a motion to approve the minutes. A motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
The minutes approved. The next item on the list is the superintendent's report. And Mr. Peck,
Dr. Carpenter first.
oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We'll begin with a very brief financial report. We're 50% complete with our school year, and you'll see our revenues are at 58.79% with expenditures at 48.22, and that's pretty good. Also, I'd like for you to note the local tax collections, and you'll see that we're 18% ahead of where we are at this point, where we were at this point last year. And our expenditures are slightly below that 50% mark. So this is a very brief financial statement, but it's a very, very good one. And you'll also note that some of the functions may look like they're a little bit greater, and that's the beginning of the calendar year expenses for those things that we pay in the month of January. But a good report, and we continue to watch our expenditures. Unless there are questions, I'll move on.
Any questions from the board? Proceed, please.
Look at SPLOS collections there in item 2. You'll notice that our SPLOS 3 distributions are over 900,000 again, only down by about 5,000 from November. And if you compare with SPLOS 2, we're on track to collect about 40,000 more per month, and that's a good thing. Newton High School project meeting is January 9th, and you will note that I note that some of you board members had mentioned to Mr. Barr something about a tour, and he'll be sending out some tentative dates in the coming days for you to sign up for the tour. Mr. Chairman, those are the only items I'd like to bring attention to, unless you have anything else that you want me to add.
No, anybody else got anything? One comment, what's our process? Do we have to name and/or rename the street? And what's our process to start that?
Well, we already have an address for the school. We had to go ahead and secure that address, so the school already has an address. What's that address, Mr. Barr? 601. 601 Crow Road North.
Well, what I'm saying is the entrance to that. We don't have any anticipation of naming that.
I've heard
quote,
nothing
unquote,
about naming the entrance.
Rams Boulevard or Rams Circle or Rams,
I haven't been in any conversation about naming the entrance.
well, if nobody interested, I am, and see what we have to do.
You want to see what we need to do to name the entrance?
Right. And
You
get
got
that-
two of them, so which?
And let that, well, that's why I brought it up. I don't know what, we can't take one from the other one. I don't,
Let me have some conversation with the right folks and find out what that looks like.
and socialize that among the public and let them decide.
Let's take a look at it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions on with Dr. Carpenter? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Peck.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our curriculum instruction and technology report for the month of January. Item number 1, consultants from Springboard visited Newton County to continue professional development with our secondary teachers in ELA and math. Teachers were given the opportunity to plan an upcoming unit by looking at the content and determining the appropriate research-based instructional strategies to use to teach the content. Item number 2, our benchmarks were administered in grades 1 through 12 during December. The purpose of these formative assessments is to measure each student's knowledge of the standards that have been taught in all subject areas over the 9-week period. Teachers use the data from these assessments to reteach the standards students had difficulty mastering over the 9-week period. Under technology integration, number 5, on December the 11th in 2012, Mr. Fayal worked with Dr. Gary Shattuck and the technology teacher leaders for their Tech Tuesday workshop. Tech Tuesday consisted of 6 breakout sessions that are designed to increase technology integration in all classrooms. Mr. Fayal presented how Twitter and Pinterest can be used by educators and students. He also presented how schools can manage iPads for student usage. Also, number 8, we had a vendor fair hosted by the Newton County School System Title I Department. It was held on Tuesday, December the 4th in 2012 from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Live Oak Elementary School. The purpose of the vendor fair was to provide our administrators and teachers an opportunity to visit with companies to discuss what products are available to support instruction in the classroom. There were 31 vendors. and approximately 150 teachers and administrators that have participated. Finally, number 11, parents, students, and teachers continue to utilize the Student Parent Portal in Infinite Campus. The portal is used to check grades, attendance, and demographic information. From July 1st, 2012 through December 21st, there has been 347,727 individual logins to Infinite Campus Portal. And that concludes our Curriculum Instruction and Technology Report for January. If you have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Our enrollment report for January of 2012, we had 19,185 students. In 2013, we have 19,094 with a difference of 91 students.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doctor, I have a question for
We're
Dr.
not to go to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just have a question for Dr. Matthews. The letters or the documents that Mrs. House presented, will we be able to see all the signatures? I did not
Sure,
see.
I'll PDF it and send it to the board.
There were 4 sheets. Is there any difference in those sheets? They are just different.
It's different signatures.
Okay.
It's 4 sheets. I'll PDF it and send it to the board.
Okay.
Thank you. Item 1A, Mr. Woodard.
Afternoon.
We always trust technology will work. And it did. How about that?
Bravo.
That's a good start. Well, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to share a little about the Newton College and Career Academy. I think some of you may have asked for an update on how things were going with the official first year of operation. So got about 55 slides here, and I intend to finish them in about 15 minutes. So if you'll listen fast, I'll talk fast, and then we'll have any questions. Back right before we had our grand opening, I came across this quote, and I think it has really driven what I try to do in my leadership on a daily basis in promoting the opportunities for the young people. And it basically says, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. Of course, at lunch, we really like that piece of it. To mind your own business and to work with your hands so that your daily life may win the respect of outsiders. And I think the last piece really falls in line with what we really need to be teaching students, and so that you will not be dependent on anybody. And I think that says a lot, and a lot of what we try to accomplish on a daily basis. Of course, our mission is to enhance the academic achievement and provide the students with knowledge and skills necessary to succeed in both post-secondary education and the workforce. And that "and" is a very important word for us. We feel like in the future that the workforce is going to require students who have some level of post-secondary or education beyond high school, and whether it's a industry training program or a technical college or community college or a 4-year college or university. I think that all students need to be exposed to that piece of post-secondary education and the workforce. Of course, we're driven by a community board of directors as a charter school. And tonight we have our chairman, Danny Stone with Snapping Shoals EMC, to come. I'm going to ask him to come forward and just bring a few comments on behalf of the board of directors. Danny?
Thank you, James, and I won't go to the microphone. I think I speak loud enough that y'all can probably hear me, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Matthews. First, let me say thank you for your vision for creating the College and Career Academy. I think it's a direction that this community certainly needed, and it's been very, very beneficial to a large number of students that are currently enrolled there. The other thank you I would like to say is thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve in the role as chair of the board over there. I've thoroughly enjoyed my participation with this board and the direction we've gone. You've done many, many great things. One is putting administrative staff over there that's excellent at what they do. The others are putting trainers, and many of them are sitting in this room right here tonight that are very proficient in what they do daily with the students. But more than anything else, you've given these students an opportunity not only to figure out possibly what they want to do in the future, but more so maybe even figure out what they don't want to do in the future. I can only relate back to times when I was much younger and within the military. When I went through the battery of tests, they made me a radio operator. Well, I figured out in 2 years, that was not what I wanted to do. So I took a different direction when I came out of the military, but that's part of what all of this is about. It's critical to our community that we have the workforce. We're recruiting industry regularly these days, and to have the workforce to meet these needs, when these folks come to town, that's one of the main things they ask. They ask about our school system and about the potential for the workforce to fill the jobs that they're going to be creating in this community. If I didn't learn anything else from James early on in the process here, the "and" that he mentioned in that early on mission statement is for the workforce and for post-secondary education. And it was the Career Academy over in Newnan that we went to visit, and when I saw the young man there that had created the world's smallest nuclear reactor at that college and Career Academy, it told me right quick he was being recruited by MIT, Georgia Tech, and some of the engineering schools. This isn't about just vocational education. This is about giving these students the skills they're going to need to succeed in life, whether it is in the workforce or whether it is through post-secondary education. And I think we're certainly moving in the right direction with it. Again, I would say, and I'm going to shut up, James, because you said you're going to be through in 15 minutes, okay? But we're doing something right just because of the number of other communities that are coming here regularly to visit our college and career academy to see what we are doing and to not have to go through the process of reinventing the wheel when they get theirs off and running. So again, thank you so much for your vision. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve. And James, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right, thank you. And Danny has been also working with Henry County and setting up a college and career academy down there, and they recently received a grant for $3 million as we've helped them out. But you see our other board of directors is very strong from a business industry standpoint. Kyle Anderson, a parent representative from Alcovy, is leaving us or has left us, and so you'll see another board item later tonight that replaces him. And that's one of the issues, that's one of the opportunities you have as Board of Education is to actually approve the board of directors for the Career Academy. Actual enrollment for 2012-13 is 602 associates. Our projected enrollment, according to the charter, was 550. From a breakdown by base school, you see that Newton High School represents 43%, Alcovy 35%, and Eastside 22%. And though Eastside looks a little smaller, when you actually apply that to their proportion of the total population for the Newton County school system, you see that we're all three schools are pretty close to the proportionally to their enrollment. Then we take a look by grade level, pretty equally distributed between the 10th, 11th, and 12th graders. Then we can take a look at our gender, and this is probably where we see a little bit of difference, and probably surprising for some people until you think about some of the programs related to healthcare science, cosmetology, culinary arts. Even though we have males in those programs, there's a smaller proportion there. And the growth piece we need to really focus on is looking at our males and finding out why some of the males are not. Then we look at another piece is our race breakdown. A little bit, I think we need to focus on figuring out what the differences there are as well. Then we take a look at our race and gender combined, and we see that our African American females compose almost half the population within the Career Academy. This one is enrollment by career major. I'm going to show you another one that really lines it up a little bit closer, but starting left to right with agriculture, going across the bottom, construction, cosmetology, automotive. But when we look at this, maybe a little bit more clear, see that the enrollment in the various programs by the students. And this is a duplicated enrollment count because a student may be in up to 3 different programs. And then we try to look at our college piece or advanced AP. So 22% of our students are in AP classes, 23% in advanced, 9% Quest, and then 7% special ed, students with disabilities. Our Georgia Piedmont Technical College dual enrollment in numbers from school year 11-12 to school year 12-13 went from 111 students to 178, though our percentage went down because we had a lot more students enter the Career Academy as a whole. So 178 of the 602. Sat down with Mr. Metters and Ms. Fury and several other folks a couple weeks ago, and started asking a question about the dual enrollment piece with Georgia Perimeter College. So we created a plan to really ramp that aspect of the Career Academy up as well. So we provided Georgia Perimeter with a list of the identified targeted students based on test scores, and they're going to actually send a letter of invitation out to participate in the dual enrollment program. Then we're going to do a parent orientation and create some strategies to increase the dual enrollment piece with Georgia Perimeter as well. One of the things the Board of Directors approved last year was what was referred to as a student evaluation policy. And this is in addition, inclusive, but also in addition to the career and academic pathway skills that are taught through our specific programs. And the student evaluation policy focuses in 4 areas. The career academic pathway skills, the 21st century learning skills, which you've probably heard Dr. Matthews talk about several times, professional skills, and our personal success skills. So when we think about the career and academic pathway skills, the academic foundation, science, technology, engineering, math, literacy, career pathway applications, and career pathway knowledge. Connecting the academics to the actual career pathway is the focus of the first area. The second area, our community, through several stakeholder meetings, narrowed down the 21st century learning skills that was important for this community. And these were the 7 or so areas that they really felt like. So throughout the school year, throughout the school day, we basically have a different focus each week in trying to address these 21st century learning skills throughout the whole building. In addition, they talked about some professional skills, the work ethic, interpersonal etiquette, productivity orientation, organizational management skills. So we address these and I'll show you some of the ways we address these in a minute. And then personal success skills. At the end of the day, it's important for us to connect students to their passion. So how do we go about connecting to their passion earlier? Sometimes it is an elimination model that Mr. Stone spoke about, and helping students realize that healthcare is not my area, maybe culinary arts. And I think the broader array of programs that we can give them, the more opportunities they can see and get involved in. Just a review of some of the professional skills we really focused on. The first one, if you ask an associate in the Career Academy, at what point did we start teaching shaking hands? I think most of them will tell you the first day. And personally saying, I would tell you that that's probably shaped the culture of the Career Academy. As we have so many visitors come in the building, they are always commenting about, I've never been into a high school where students walked up to me and started a conversation, shook my hand, looked me in the eye. And so that whole piece is really, and we focus on it. I mean, I some days I shake 200 or 300 hands a day. I force it, the trainers force it, and it really has shaped their confidence of the students and knowing that they can have interaction with an adult. Shaking hands with guests. Made Mike Barr really uncomfortable one day when he came in the building. They started shaking his hand, and he was asking for the sanitizer. Saying thank you and I'm sorry. In my opinion, probably the 2 most powerful phrases in the dictionary. Saying yes and no, being direct in your answer instead of the yeah or the yeah whatever, Casual professional dress, formal professional dress, written communication. We've got students when people are in the building, they'll come up and ask them for a business card so that they can actually do a follow-up with them. Writing your story, articulating your story, telling your story, listening skills, networking skills. We had a whole event on where we put in 40 different people from the community to sit down with students at lunch to actually have a conversation with them and let them network, allow them that opportunity. We learned some things from the networking event. There's some things we need to focus on. And so this is actually our focus for January, in creating curiosity and conversation. You know, how do you really get involved in conversation? How do you listen? How do you restate points? How do you lead and direct the conversation when everybody else wants to, you know, probably not talk? Then how do you relate and expand on those conversation points? Several events we've done. We've done a business casual day where we ask all the students to come in business casual. Prior to that, I asked all the trainers to dress business casual, which meant some trainers had to take their ties off for the week. And then business formal. I had one trainer tell me that she really had to dig deep in her closet to get a whole week's worth of business professional dress, formal dress. We had the business networking event. We had an entrepreneur showcase event with our EB entrepreneurship program. The Chamber of Commerce has just been really big cheerleaders, and monthly Shannon Davis has organized an industry tour with 6 to 10 different business people, and our culinary arts people have been able to provide the lunch for them. Prior to the holidays, we had a visit from our Commissioner of Labor, Mark Butler, and he sat down and had an informal meeting with a group of about 20 of our associates. Mr. Stone talked about other school systems who have been to visit us within the first 6 months. This is a list of those school systems, and the ones that have an asterisk beside them, we've assisted them in preparing a proposal for their College and Career Academy grant. And as a result of that, those 3 school systems actually received $3 million each to start their Career Academy. But their Career Academies have been shaped by what we're doing. Fayette County brought a group of about 20 people for their visit. And a lot of naysayers in that group that day, the lady told me, and they walked away excited about starting a Career Academy. Mike Barr facilitated the Georgia Department of Education facilities team because we got some unique designs of our building. Building usage. This has really been an amazing part for me, and I think it's probably a really good thing because associates within the Career Academy have the opportunity to interact with adults. And as they see you or other industry people come into the building, they realize what business casual looks like. They realize what business professional looks like. They see models of good behavior in most of the adults that come in the building. But these, from our usage standpoint, these are, just a summary. This is just a summary of within the school system, different groups that have used our building for training purposes. Some examples of our business, industry, and community using our building, including the school resource officer training last week. So a lot of different ways that our building is being used, and in the design, in the planning process, we needed a building in the community that could be used for these type of activities. And so industry training, I think Dr. Matthews, when we had their public safety meeting after the shooting up in Connecticut, that's when the sheriff came in the building. He said, hey, this would be a great place to do our training next week. And Mr. Barr was able to help us put that together. This is amazing. We have over 5,000 visitors in our building since July. Now, a lot of those are, was springboard training in July. But, I think when people come into the building, they see the types of programs that we have and better understand what we're trying to accomplish in that. A couple of new programs we put together in response to industry needs. The Compass internship program. We have an internship or apprenticeship program, but we had some industry who wanted us to create a higher level, more prestigious type internship. Something you might find in an engineering school if you go to Georgia Tech or something with Georgia Power. And so that's what we tried to put together here with our partners SKC and CR Bard in the areas of accounting and marketing and computer network. Some areas that you might think of engineering with SKC, but they've got a lot of other opportunities within the building to involve the students. So this Compass internship program is something we're recruiting for this spring. And then our entrepreneurship business incubator. This provides students with an opportunity to start their own business, creating them infrastructure within the building, meeting with a business mentor on a weekly basis. And we have 7 students taking advantage of this, and what I'd like to do is, if we can make this piece work. Look at it, he's concerned with it. There we go. This is a quick video that the associates put together regarding the didn't quite work. There we go.
Hi, I'm Allison Carpenter, founder of Sitters R Us. At Sitters R Us, we are a group of trained babysitters dedicated to taking care of your children with compassion, aspiration, respect, and etiquette. Stop by my table to see what I can do for you. Hello, I am Alicia Torres, founder of Mothering Our Daughters, a nonprofit organization that was created to benefit young ladies and aid them on their walk to their professional and social future, transforming young ladies today for their future tomorrow. Hi, I'm Haley Neese, founder of Haley Pet Care 101. My goal is to provide a quality care for your beloved animals. I'm here to give you a stress-free vacay. I have been working with and around animals all of my life. I've had experience with cats, dogs, horses, goats, and many more.
Hi, I'm Connor Haler, founder of Pixel Perfect Productions. My goal is to provide excellent video solutions for global rates. Whether it's marketing materials for your business or side business, or just old video formats transferred to DVD, Pixel Perfect has you covered. Some of my work has been recognized throughout the state, nationally, and internationally. My fluency in software and my raw, cutting-edge techniques makes Pixel Perfect a reliable source to bring your fresh, new ideas to life. Come by my booth and see what I can offer you.
Hello, my name is Destiny McFadden, owner and operator of Tasty Pastries, etc. We customize quality and tasty pastries at the lowest price. Stop by our booth today and experience what we have to offer.
Hi, I'm Matthias Gold.
And I'm Simone Gold.
And we are one of the founders of BOE Creations. Here at BOE Creations, we use our unique talents and skills to develop the perfect product that fits your individual taste.
World's Team found a one-stop shop that customizes logos, t-shirts, and websites for your business or personal use.
Come stop by our table today and see what we have to offer for you.
So a good example of some of the businesses that have been able to be created within the EBI. Another aspect that we've recently had the board of directors to approve is a new STEM institute. STEM was a focus of the Career Academy application, and we have a lot of jobs in Newton County related to engineering and manufacturing that involves a lot of science and technology. And so we put together a team recently to create this STEM institute. The issue really is, even with unemployment at where it is today, we still have a large number of jobs not being filled. And many of these jobs have one thing in common: the science, the technology, the engineering, manufacturing, the math. And at the end of the day, American workers lack the skills for these jobs. A recent conference speaker said the sweep of industries affected by the STEM skills shortage was revealing, from healthcare, energy production, distribution, autos, to slowly renewing domestic manufacturing area, transportation, and agriculture. And so our STEM Institute has been designed around these three areas. So the solution: hands-on learning that links math, science to the real world, works best for all students. A unique approach, connecting STEM to our current pathway integration. So we identified three areas: engineering, manufacturing. We have a need of recruiting more students in that area: healthcare, science, and agriculture. And if you take a look back at the 5 theme areas the Career Academy was built around, these areas are 3 of the 5 that we were asked to focus on. So our proposal is to actually create a piece that brings in a cohorted group of 9th graders, 54 of them, through an application process, screening them based on their science and math scores at grades 6, 7, and 8, and inviting them to participate as a 9th grader. Just starting because our charter calls for a group of 9th graders actually coming into the Career Academy, a small group of 50, so we felt like the STEM Institute would meet that need as well. But they would all be involved in a very rigorous, advanced, accelerated math and science course, complemented by the advanced English language arts and social science courses. So we put this forth to our board of directors back in December, and they overwhelmingly approved the creation of the STEM Institute at the Career Academy. So year 1, we've had several team meetings. Three of the team members, Lynn House, Dolores Williams, and Angela Cooper. I don't think I see anyone else, but they've been a part of this planning process, rolling out to our 8th graders in January and February, doing some reviews and interviews in March, and then notifying them of acceptance in April, and then starting the program in August. So a very rigorous STEM institute involving working this group of students through 4 years of a very, very rigorous science and math curriculum. Also wanted to share with you just a few pictures of some of the things that have occurred in the Career Academy, and just get an idea of what's happening. And I invite you to come by and just spend a couple hours with me on a tour and experience some of the handshaking. Even with the equine science program in agriculture, we have a horse on campus now. Had a career day where a lot of our associates just went down to Porterdale and put forth all these careers and with the little kids. Our graphic arts Mac Lab is pretty impressive for our associates. A few pictures of our business formal professional day. It's not a requirement, but it's a strongly encouraged opportunity to come dressed professional. And really the highlight was the kids seeing each other dressed up for a change, and some of them, they were very stylish and put forth a good look, and we promoted these pictures through our displays in the building. A couple shots of the culinary arts lab. They to the point of catering for small groups now and working up to actually catering. I think we're going to cater the retirement dinner in the spring. Horticulture program. Video broadcasting. We did a shoot for Covington News on the political candidates. And actually the student over on your right is Tyler Head, who was the student from Newton who was recently injured in a wrestling match. So he was part of that shoot. Just got a lot of neat equipment for students to participate in. Covington News really, they just fell in love with what we could help them do and be a partner with us. This is a group from Fayette County, and one of the things we try to do is stay in the background, let the students articulate their story. And this is, I think, Darren Berry's son, Levi, who I received an email from Darren earlier in the year who said that this is the first time in a long time Levi's been excited about coming to school. Do a lot of handshake. I promise you better bring your sanitizer. And sometimes I just have to relax and get my facial. So after a long day, Miss Shannon Davis and I received a couple of facials from the associates. I actually went in the CNA program the other day and got in the bed and let them roll me over and practice me. What it's going to be like when I'm old. Our networking lunch, every table that day had a business industry person. So I want to say a big kudos to our business industry group for coming out and participating, and several of our school officials came out. Just a tremendous day of excitement for the students, and we gave them an evaluation back. This is our visit with Commissioner of Labor, Labor Commissioner Mark Butler. And then our example of our entrepreneurship seasonal showcase, much like a trade show. And these are our young entrepreneurs. They're an excited bunch. They really, really are enjoying starting their own business. And then you probably saw some gingerbread house pictures earlier, right before this. Having the pre-K in the building really adds a lot of flavor to it as well. So that's it. I think with Dandy's comments, I didn't finish in 15 minutes, but I'll blame that. I did want to read one comment we got from a visitor. Enjoyed touring your beautiful school. Thank you for the hospitality. Enjoyed meeting your trainers and students. And probably the most powerful part of this comment was, we visit thousands of classrooms a year, and I believe your school is to be very exceptional. The students were confident, cheerful, seemed to know where they were headed, discussed it freely and articulately, and left a good impression with us. We love the way they shake your hand, look you in the eye, and introduce themselves. What great tools they're getting there. So with that in mind, I'll be glad to entertain any questions, or if I can't answer, I'll let Mr. Stone answer it.
Any questions from the board?
I have one. All right, Mr. Woodard. I know at one time when you did a presentation, you were concerned about females enrolling in certain programs. Looks like you don't have a problem with female enrollment now.
Well, we
I
still-
know you mentioned like the construction program and things of that nature, getting females to enroll in those type programs. How's that going?
This last year, not great, and that is inclusive of the engineering manufacturing as well. So some of our recruitment efforts will be focusing on trying to get more females in those areas. The same thing as far as getting more guys in the healthcare science. It's just that's a challenge. I mean, it's an issue that kids are planted early in life.
Yeah.
Those are not.
So in those recruitment efforts, do you use like gender specific people, professionals already, like a male nurse or?
If you look at our recruitment materials, we tried to do that in pictures up front. But that's another good idea of actually having some females in the engineering program to step out and speak on behalf of that.
Okay.
And I actually spoke with a young lady this morning who was excited to be in the engineering program. That was so she might be a great spokesperson for that.
Okay. And then one other question. With the business professional like dress day, the kids that do not, and I know you said it's not a requirement, those kids that do not have those resources, what do you guys do? Do you guys have a list? Do you guys have support from the business industry on how, what do you do in
I
those
noticed a
cases?
couple of students, and I don't create a big issue about it because I really want to find out what the issue is, whether they just forgot and some did, and whether some weren't going to do it and some are just not focused on doing that yet. But I did find a couple of students who said, I didn't have it. And I said, well, if you'll let me know, I'll figure out a way to get it. And I actually went on the intercom system and just made that general announcement. If anyone has an issue with getting business professional dress, I'll go to Goodwill and create an agreement with them or a partnership with them. We'll make that happen.
Good.
But unfortunately, a pride issue kicks in, and I haven't had any of those students come forward and express that need, but I know it exists, and we're willing to work on it. And I'm sure I could call on the business community to help with that piece. But I want to say a big thank you for everybody in the school system to make this happen, whether it's nutrition, technology, transportation, everybody in the school system has been really supportive of making this happen. And just a big kudos to everybody that's been involved in it. And kudos to the Board of Education for having the vision of making this happen. And I think we've got several other exciting things in the future that you'll be excited to hear about.
James, is the STEM cohort an inaugural state program, or is there a model that you are using, like a CalUTA model, or is there a model in the state?
No, we have our own team working on.
So it's the first.
It's right.
Is the cohort math discrete, or is it integrated math? Or is that the plan?
I'll ask my math expert.
It'll be the integrated math that is required through the Common Core curriculum statewide.
Okay.
But it will just be at a very rigorous level so that the students get more than they may in a regular classroom. They will be challenged to integrate it with their particular pathway.
And theoretically, they could go in later to college math.
Sure.
Or pre-calc, I got you.
Yes, the AP.
Or
will be
AP.
The accumulation of it, yes, definitely. And we are actually looking at, they're having 5 maths. So
That will
they take
set 'em
AP
ahead.
Statistics and AP calculus.
Will they-
Or AP Cal and AB and BC.
Will they do at some point an SAT?
Yes,
Okay,
That will be a requirement.
okay.
They will participate in the SAT and the AP exams.
Okay.
And I have a question that relates to the STEM program. Will you guys be looking at colleges like, I know Newton's, Alana's program, their STEM did a joint collaboration with Morehouse School of Medicine. So will you guys be looking at partnerships with colleges?
We will. Georgia Tech, University of Georgia, Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College. Those are 3 of the ones that we're focused on now. We have, I think Georgia Tech is coming January.
Oh, good.
January 29th to visit with us. And then we've already made contact with both the University of Georgia and Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Because Tech partners with the magnet in Rockdale, so that's good.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, you can't get away that quick.
You know, Mr. Johnson, I was planning on getting away with that.
I know you were. I saw it in your eyes. I saw it when you got your facial up here.
Yeah.
Now, I really appreciate the job that's taking place over at the Career Academy. It is great. Every time I go over there, I start smiling and I don't stop until I get out. Great job. But I have a question, comment. When the concept of it is that it was going to help us, and I know it is, reduce our dropout rate. What are we doing to reach out for those students who are not necessarily so academically achieving academically, so that we can get some of people or students in the lower performance that's geared toward an occupation rather than the college setting? What are we doing to ensure that we are getting a sufficient number of those kids so that we'll actually help, I think, our dropout rate?
I think, number one, the diversity of the programs are touching a lot of kids. And just on a personal note of talking to kids on a day-to-day basis, I know there's a lot of those kids that fit that profile you just talked about that were connected to it through a public safety program or culinary arts program. Secondly, our counselors and the relationship we have in creating a counselor liaison back at each of the base schools. They understand and are able to help funnel kids and connect them to a pathway that will encourage them and actually make learning fun for them again, just like, you know, Darren Barry said about his son, that it was the connection to the automotive program. Probably fit the same profile that you talked about just a minute ago, but now he has a love of learning because it's connected to automotive. So our counselor liaison group is our second strategy in making that happen. The third piece is actually our career pathway or career guidance plan for the district, and connecting to the requirements for Bridge and having every student come into the 9th grade with an education and career plan. That adds to that component of making sure that every kid has that opportunity of connecting to a passion.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Cool, thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks again. Okay, next item is old business. Ms. Fury,
There's nothing to add at this point on item J.
is
Or
this the
policy
item?
J.
Is this the item that we approved tonight, or is the next?
It's regular meeting next week.
Okay, thank you. Under new business, Dr. Carpenter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Let's begin with item A. And you'll find that the superintendent recommends the adoption of the FY14 tentative budget calendar. Nothing's different about this calendar than those that we published for the last 3 years, and you'll see that time has been set aside for the board to hold budget work sessions or public hearings as they might see fit. So there's your budget calendar for the FY14 budget. Unless there are questions, we'll move to item B.
Proceed, please.
Our custodial program, the superintendent recommends the annual renewable program be awarded to Associated Paper of Conyers for the comprehensive custodial program, and it be renewed for one additional contract period. The effective date of the renewal will be January 16th, 2013, extending through January 15th of 2014. You'll see here that there is a slight increase relative to the 145,000 square feet that Mr. Woodard and Mr. Stone so eloquently talked about, and that's our college and career academy. So you'll see that increase relative to the new building that we have.
Any reason why we just selected 1 year?
We extended, it's actually a little bit different. We set up our time frames for 4 years after the initial award to be renewed, but this contract had just gone into play the year before we set that up. So they're actually going for 6 years this time, but they will be bid out next year. And we gave them that concession because we did not have that process in place when they originally did their bid, and they'd invested in those types of materials that they needed to implement the program. But we have served them notice that there will be a new RFP for this program after the coming school year. It's not a school year, actually calendar year, beginning January 16th.
Any questions from the members? Item C, please.
In item C, you'll find your surplus items, and the superintendent recommends declaring those items as surplus and no longer serviceable to our school system. And those items come from East Newton and Veterans Memorial Middle School.
Okay. Any comments from the board? If not, thank you, sir. Ms. Fury.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We are looking at item D. The superintendent recommends the approval of the attached 178-day student calendar and 184-day teacher calendar. A representative from each school, along with school and district level administrators, was solicited to develop the 2013-14 school calendar. The committee met in November and produced the attached calendar option, which reflects a continuation of 6 furlough days. So I think you have the color copy available to you.
How long will this be before we, other than next, what are we doing to get the public aware of this calendar?
Well, what we do is we use our school level folks. We have not put it out for public consumption since the calendars have been relatively the same pattern, the same structures over multiple years. Last year was the only year that we differentiated the September break, and that was based on the committee's discussion. And you'll see that they reconsidered their decision and moved that. The committee is sort of a standing committee. Many of the members are the same as in previous years, so they bring to the table a lot of information and a lot of recollection of the processes before. But as far as putting it out on the website for the public to respond and provide comments, we have not done that.
Do you plan to?
We hadn't, no, we didn't, we haven't in the past. Probably, I would say, Dr. Thomas, it's been a few years since it's been out there on the website for public consumption, just because it's very similar year after year.
Are the furlough days indicated or am I missing them? They're built in?
Yes, they're built into the calendar.
And there's 6?
There are 6.
How many were there in fiscal, we're in fiscal 13. How many were there in fiscal 12?
I don't know if that was the year that sometime during the year you added back 2 days. So if that was last year, then that would have made, and there was not a work associated with it. There were no increase in student days.
How long have we had furloughs on teachers?
I believe it's been a good number of years now.
I
don't have the exact number to be.
Right. I'm just wondering, when are we going to get out of that? When are we going to move into a way of looking and rethinking? Well, when are we going to look at a way to budget where, and I understand the different pots of money, but when are we going to be able to move away? I mean, a furlough is kind of a temporary panacea. And they just continue and they continue. Is there any systemic? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, Sam, at all. I'm just, maybe Dr. Matthews has a good, but we just seem to take it as a given that we're going to furlough. And we didn't hear of this in the 80s when I began teaching, and in the 90s. I mean, now it's just furlough. I mean, that's eating in, and we got the 2% coming now, going back to 6.2 payroll. That's 2% they're losing. I mean, and I know there's a school of thought that says, well, everybody works nights and weekends, so they should, but I mean, teachers are working nights and weekends and holidays and, I mean, all the time. And I'm just wondering, that's where the achievement's gonna change, is in the classroom. I'm just wondering, when can we begin to move toward a rethinking, even looking at a basing of the budget, basing of the budget at some point in the future. Maybe Dr. Matthews has insight.
If I can help, I believe it was at the very last teacher forum meeting in this room where I suggested to them, in looking at our budgetary projections, I felt we had to seriously look at giving at least 2 furlough days back in the coming fiscal year, that seemed plausible. My caveat was, A, the board would have to agree to such after they look at the budget projections, and B, we have to determine that that's where we want to go, and the dollars be there to do it. So I think that's where we are.
So
looking
does
at
that
the-
6 catch those 2? No.
Right, so when we were developing this calendar, we talked about developing a 178-day calendar, but we've also considered, and we'll put back out to the committee, the following. Should the board change to a 4 furlough days instead of 6, giving back 2 days, and approve this calendar, the furlough days that would be returned would occur on February 17th. They would be teacher and student report days, the 17th and 18th of February, the Monday and Tuesday in that February break, which would then allow everything else to remain as it is, and we would return the student days. So we would be at a 180-day student year as well.
But if I remember correctly, when we received the additional funds that
Yes.
we were not expecting, I recommended that we give those 2 days back at that time. And so, if it's time for us to do that, I think we need to go ahead and look at doing it.
I thought that's what we said.
Exactly.
When we did this new budget for
we
this
gonna
year,
put it-
I thought we went ahead and did the 6 furlough days, and we said as a board that if we have the funds available,
Exactly.
like we did the year giving the 2 days back, that we
Exactly.
would look at doing that at a later time
Exactly.
span. I thought that's what we said.
I think that's what you said, and I also think that, if I remember correctly, when we presented the calendar last year, the legislature was still out, and it was still kind of iffy about what we were looking at, so we sort of held off on making the decision until February, is when I think we approved it last year. So certainly, we have no
we're not
reason
next
to
month.
exclude additional 2 days for teachers or
Right.
for our staff.
Right.
We would like to add those days back, but we present you with an option that looks at the 178 days with an easy add back of 2 days on those two, that week. That would be a traditional week off for February break. So if that's what you wish for me to do, we'll certainly put that back out to our committee to make sure that's what they wish. And then at our next meeting, I can report back to you next week and let you know what the consensus was. I'm not really thinking that our folks are going to say, no, don't do that. But they may have a better solution. They may want to add days in another place. So if that is what you wish, we will certainly do that.
Yeah, I think we should, because we said we would do it.
Absolutely.
I think we need to hold to our word.
Well, we'll do that, sure.
Absolutely.
Okay. Proceed to the next one.
Okay. Student handbooks. The superintendent recommends the approval of the purchase of student handbooks for students in grades K through 12 for the 2013-2014 school years. The funds will be budgeted in the FY14 budget, and we'll be following the same process as we have in the past. Our school administrators feel strongly that they have student handbooks and the agenda portions, and so we will continue that process with the same company, and if we approve this item, they will continue to give us the $750 discount if we approve by February 1st. So,
I have something to say about the student handbooks. I think if we continue to put money in this, and I understand the school administrators support this, and I also know that we have to have a way to get the rules out in the parent signature as well. But my thing is that, I'll just use example, when I'm tutoring at an after-school program, a number of the students have lost their handbooks. And this is by September, October. I see a number of the handbooks not being used in a way that they could, teacher-parent communication. So what do we do about that?
well, when we know about specific situations, and I mean, I can speak to my own situations. We talk to the school level, the teachers. We talk to the assistant principals and principals because the principals of our schools have requested, and so much so that they're willing to give up a part of their budget to support it.
Yeah, and that's the
so-
confusion for me, because
Yeah.
that's why I say I know they support this, but then when I see children, including my children, bring home an agenda with just a smiley face, or, you know, I don't feel like it's being used in a way that it best could be used.
Well, perhaps we can provide some professional learning
Yeah.
to enhance the use of the handbooks, given the fact that the administrators really feel like they're necessary. And I know as a parent, I use the handbook every single day, and especially when I have to provide communication to the teachers in the school to let them know what's going on. So it's a great tool. It just depends on the person using it on the other end. So we will absolutely, in our meetings with our principals at the end of the month, discuss that with them to ensure that we're utilizing them as best as we can.
Yeah, because it's a cost.
Yes.
I guess it could depend on class size. I mean, I don't know what average class sizes are, but they seem packed. And you can, if you're an English teacher, I mean, the grading is prohibitive these days. Same with a math teacher, depending on the types of problems. And to, I don't know, 35 kids in a class, to do anecdotal notes daily for 35 kids times 4 or 5 classes. I'm just saying it might just be a class size issue.
Yeah.
It can be, but
you know.
But I'm not asking for the teacher to sit there and write a note independently.
Okay.
Say,
Yeah.
for example, my oldest child, who is in 3rd grade, this is probably the first year that I've seen the agenda used in a good way, where she actually writes the assignment herself. So that's giving her that autonomy. The teacher is putting it on, display of what the lesson is, and it's up to the students to watch. That's teaching them responsibility. However, I do not see that in a number of classrooms, or when I'm tutoring at community centers. I'm opening up kids' agenda and I'm seeing blank. Yeah.
okay. We will certainly take that up with them at the end of the month in our principals meetings to be more efficient and certainly set a standard for what we expect in the use of our handbooks.
One question.
Yes, sir.
Do we replace them when the kids misplace them?
We do.
At whose cost?
Well, the principals budget into their requests. We look at their enrollment numbers, and then we look at a percentage above. Most of the time, there's a small fee associated with the replacement of the agenda, so that you compensate the school. You get one the first time, then after that.
Well, you learn a lesson.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Next item.
Yes, sir. The superintendent recommends the approval of the attached contract with Flexible Creativity Incorporated for 26 days of professional learning for the system as a whole and for individual schools during the 2013-2014 school year. Dr. Dan Mulligan will continue to be the consultant. This year, we have used Dr. Mulligan in a variety of manners. One, with our new teachers to bring them up to speed with our expectations for research-based instructional strategies and building background knowledge, and also the integration of technology. So we have that mapped out for the beginning of the school year. Our focus, plan for our focus for the next school year would be the integrating of reading strategies across the curriculum, given the Common Core's requirement that our non-traditional, meaning not our English classes, also work on using nonfiction to teach how to pull out information and make sense and justify in science and social studies and technical subjects. So we want to work with our administrators to help them understand what it looks like when you go into a classroom. So we're gonna work with our leaders during the summer on strategic look-fors when we're looking at teaching reading across the curriculum. And we'll work with them. And then we also have content leaders, content specialists, of which we've spoken before, school level staff for, Dr. Mulligan works with them twice a year. We set up a beginning session and take them through a workshop, and then we come back and follow up in the spring. We haven't had our second meeting with our content specialists and content leaders. We will in February. And then Dr. Mulligan visits each of the schools, and the first meeting this year, he has worked with the principals and gone in, and they have observed classrooms together and come out of the classrooms to kind of develop an inter-rater reliability, where what you see is what I see, and they've had discussions about what they've seen in the classrooms. And then from there, they build school-specific professional learning, and he comes back a second date to that same school and meets with the teachers to provide professional learning that he and the principal have designed together. And we intend to continue that plan because not all of the schools were able to have Dr. Mulligan this year. There was only a certain number of days. So we would like to continue to work with him for the upcoming school year.
Is the plan, does he go to the Career Academy? Or will he be doing the Career Academy?
Not this upcoming school year, but he can. He can. They're not on the plan
Yes,
this year
okay.
for the 13-14 school year.
Any questions? Thank you. We can go to the next one, please. And that would be Mr. Woodard.
We spoke about this a little earlier, about the need to approve another member of the Board of Directors at the resignation of Kyle Anderson, who was serving as a parent representative from Alcovy. So the superintendent recommends the approval of an Alcovy parent representative to be named formally next week at the meeting of the Board of Education as a Board of Director for the Newton College and Career Academy. You see there the background as far as the charter requirements for the Board of Directors. You see on the next page the makeup of the Board of Directors for the Career Academy. Mr. Stone and Shannon Davis and I will be interviewing the parents who have expressed an interest for that Board of Directors spot on Thursday of this week. So by Friday, we'll have a name that we can present and be approved next week.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Item H.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Matthews, good evening.
Good evening.
The superintendent recommends the approval of the 2012-13 Title I budget. As a requirement of receiving federal funds from the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, under the Title I program, the local educational agency must submit an approval of an annual budget through the consolidated application process. The Title I Education Program Specialist with Georgia Department of Education reviews each application and budget to ensure that expenditures are appropriate for the program areas before approving the LEA's budget. Once the budget is approved, the Title I Education Program Specialist tracks how well the LEA is requesting funds for expenditures to ensure that the LEA is likely to meet the expenditure requirements for Title I funding. Within the Title I budget, the Elementary and Secondary Education Act requires that local educational agencies set aside a certain amount of money for the following areas: indirect costs, school allocation, flexible learning programs, parent involvement programs, the homeless program, and professional learning activities. The federal funded Title I budget is to support educational services to all Title I schools that are over and beyond what the system is providing to all students in Newton County School System. Currently, we have 22 Title I schools, 13 are elementary, 5 middle, 3 high schools, and we also have to serve Challenge Charter Academy. You have been provided a summary of the Title I Part A budget that was approved by Georgia Department of Education. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the room? Just one.
Okay.
When you, in the sentence there, it said parent involvement. When you see that term, I think about Thickwood Primary Involvement School, theme school. Do we have any other schools that qualify something similar to that?
I'm not sure what you're referring to at the theme school.
You
Are you
said-
talking about the parent involvement activities?
Yes.
We have, all Title I schools are required to have 5 parent involvement activities each year.
Okay.
And we
That's the
also
question.
submit a calendar, a master calendar that lists all the parent involvement activities, and it's on our website so that anybody can look at the activities as well as go and visit the schools during the activity times.
Thank you, that's all. Thank you. Any other questions? Thanks again. Okay, our next one is don't see your name here.
That'd be Ms. Goggin, legislative position.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, policy.
We have
K.
policy K.
Policy K through M.
It's I.
Aye.
Aye.
I skipped one, sorry.
Who is that?
Dr.
Dr.
Carpenter.
Carpenter.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I have items on policies K and L, and the superintendents recommend the adoption of those policies based on the ongoing review with Ms. Marvine Brooks and the Georgia School Board Association. So you'll see the chart there that references those policies in section K and L, some of which are discretionary, some that may be abolished due to other authority, and those that are being abolished due to redundancy or the policy no longer being applicable. So you'll see the chart there, and that chart consists of those policies related to K&L, and I think Dr. Matthews is responsible for section M.
I have M, and I think that's also included in this particular agenda. I was out sick during this time, and thanks to Ms. Fury for doing this one for me. But as I recollect, the Georgia School Board Association consultant recommended that we eliminate all of them, saying that it was redundant and found elsewhere in state law or policy. Is that correct, Ms. Fury? Thank you.
Okay, item J. There are no questions. Ms. Baker and Ms. Carter.
Okay, for item J, Abigail and I had the pleasure of working on the 2013 legislative positions. So, before you, I am just going to give you a copy of the legislative priorities that we adopted for the 2012 first. And she'll take and pass those down. And then I also have a copy of GSBA's legislative positions or priorities, and they have a thick package. It's a package of 8 pages. And take and pass that down. And so what we did together is we looked at our old priorities or our positions from 2012, and then we looked at GSBA's, and then a couple of counties that have already set theirs. We didn't want to go too far away from what everybody else was saying, because sometimes when you put too many things, when you try to reach out to legislators, they hear a number of things. So we want to stick with key solid ones. These are proposed legislative priorities though. So you can disagree with us, you can add on to what we have. So these are the ones that we have put together here. Some of the old ones we kept, some of them we changed the wording on, and some we took out. There was, last year we had 5 categories. This year we have 5 again. However, we did not have one category called improving student achievement. So we put improving student achievement inside of our priority. And then we didn't have a federal legislative priority. So we did do one federal legislative. So I don't know if you guys want to read them to yourself. You want us to read them aloud?
Well, let's just read them, and we come back next week and make any changes for adoption, whatever. If that's okay for everybody?
That's perfect.
Okay, we'll do that. The next item is item K.
Stay the same.
Good evening. You should have linked proposed meeting schedule for all of 2013. Do you?
Mm-hmm.
This schedule is based on the schedule from previous years, the second and third Tuesday of each month. Combined meetings, July and December. The calendar you reviewed earlier was also used in setting the board meeting dates. There were 2 months affected by the calendar. If you look, February, the meeting dates were affected by the winter break, so we proposed meetings on the second and fourth Tuesday. Let's see here. October, the meeting dates are affected by fall break, so instead of second and third, we proposed third and fourth, if that's okay with you guys. And then there's one other month I wanted you to look at, and that's June. And that's because I've got listed right now the normal dates, the second and the third meeting date, but the week of our work session is the same week that you go to GSBA. And the main conference doesn't start until the 14th, but the pre-sessions start on the 12th. And that would be the day after our work session.
That's
And
what
I-
it was this year. We did
Right.
the same thing.
Right, and I didn't know if you all are planning on going to those pre-sessions and want to change the meeting dates, so you have our proposed work session day as a travel day, or if you want to leave them the same.
This,
Personally prefer to leave it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Better on my personal schedule.
Works better?
it will not work for me, so I will not be here on the 18th. And that's how it was this year with the conference.
mean
And
the-
we moved it up
the
to the
11th,
first.
yeah.
We moved it up to the
That's
first
right,
and
we
second
did.
Tuesday.
I looked at
am
doing that,
never
and it just,
here
it put it so
during
close
June.
to your May 21st meeting, I didn't know if you wanted two meetings back to back like that, that's why I
That's
didn't know
fine.
if
I
you
mean,
wanted.
that's fine. I
That
just
would
won't be
work with
here.
me. I mean, we've already booked our vacation, so that's Thursday.
What, to do June 4 and 11? Is that what is being considered? Is that, or leave it like it is?
I didn't know if you wanted to wait and do both meetings after the conference, do the 18th and the 25th, or if you want to.
But this year, we did it like the 4th, and it was that first week of June, and then
We
the
did
second week.
Yeah, we
that
did
back-
the
back
first
right
and
there.
second
Okay.
Tuesday.
Okay.
Question. This, Dr. Matthews probably can answer this. Is there anything prohibiting us from having a dual session in another month?
No, not that I'm aware of. You could do it.
So, having
combined
said that, those particular months there, that may be something we want to look at.
Okay.
Is just having a dual session and have one meeting for
Like
those
on the
months.
18th?
Like a combined meeting on the
You can do the
18th?
18th, the
Oh, you
11th.
can't. Well, then do it combined on the 11th?
On the 11th.
Well, the 11th is,
I'm just one. Y'all still have majority.
the 11th is the day before the pre-sessions start for GSBA.
Okay.
It starts on Wednesday, right?
No, it doesn't start till Thursday, actually, but the
Thursday.
pre-session.
Pre-session. So
You take
if
that
nobody's
class,
going
Right.
to the
it'll start
pre-sessions,
like
it
a
doesn't
day back.
matter.
Morning.
Right.
Yeah, on
So-
Wednesday, see, you could.
So the 11th still would be fine. I'm sorry.
So I
I'm
just
just
wanted.
worried about Ms. Allen back there.
She has
She
so
has
much fun
to, she has
booking
to
these.
deal with GSBA arrangements. She's already been working on that today. That's why I'm laughing. I don't mean to make light of it. That's why I was laughing.
So it's just a matter of if you need the 11th as a travel day for pre-sessions
Right.
to be there on the 12th,
Right.
then we need to change that
To the
meeting.
18th.
With my driving, don't worry about it.
She gets there real fast.
So it's
You
up
want-
to the board. I can,
You could combine them onto the 18th?
The 11th.
Combine them on the 18th, yes.
I won't be here on the 18th. I just thought y'all said, go ahead.
so,
I guess.
Can we do it on the other night, on the 18th? I mean,
Could do the 25th.
why not? I don't have the next.
I
calendar.
had the 18th and the 25th if you wanted to change
We
it.
could
Could
combine
do
them on the
25th.
25th.
To do it on 25th.
Do one meeting combined on the
Yeah,
25th.
exactly.
I like
Do it
that
on the
idea.
25th.
One meeting combined on June 25th.
Okay.
I think that would.
I like that idea.
So we'll have a combined meeting in June and a combined meeting in July and a combined
In
meeting
December.
in December.
What's the date in July?
Oh.
I put down the
16.
16th,
Yeah, I like those combined ones.
and that's the third Tuesday.
That's the 16th of July.
Right.
Mhm.
Is that going to work?
I think that'll work.
I'm looking at Shaquila. She's got
Dr.
her
Matthews says
head
it'll
in her
work, he won't
hands.
be here. Yeah, it'll work for him.
You know it works for Dr. Matthews.
He'll be gone.
No, I think that's fine, the 16th.
I don't have a
My
problem
only
with it.
concern was June.
Okay, so I'll just change the meeting date in June and then retype this up and present it next week.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you. Item L. Oh. All the members have a draft of the superintendent's qualifications. If we want to make any changes to it, we can adopt it as is. If we want to make any changes, let's raise them now and make the adjustment. I would like to stay in sequence to adopt this tonight, but the changes may dictate otherwise. So anybody got any changes to the draft that they have. No changes.
There was one change that was recommended.
Well, it's not necessary that we do it. It was recommended.
Right, I understand, but I was just, I mean, if the recruiter is saying this is, you know, let me recommend this because from my experience, I see this.
Well, my thought on it, it was said last week, that same person said, we knocked it out of the ballpark. And I'm gonna leave it, and I got my proof. Yeah, so I don't see any need to change it personally. If anybody wants to see change it, we'll vote on it. And we'll move from there.
Well, it probably sounds mysterious, I don't know, but what they came back with was the one about experience as a principal.
That's the one.
I like it the way it is, to be honest.
I do too, that's why I said we're
Yeah.
gonna change it. Anybody else
Yeah.
want to change it? No, okay, so we'll adopt the program as written. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposes?
We gotta have a
Motion.
motion.
Just- You need a motion to this? Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Dr. Mathis?
Yes, item M is simply a recognition tonight of the fact that next Tuesday night, the board will elect the board chairperson and vice chairperson as they do annually. So with that, that's the public heads up, and the vote is next week.
Thank you. Item N, Dr. Mathis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I respectfully request your approval of my recommendations in tonight's executive session.
All in favor?
I make a motion that we
I'll
approve.
tell you, well, I want to get this over with.
No, second.
We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Any other matters of interest by any of the board members? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.
That wasn't an hour and